welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog where I'm gonna be reading Ninth House. So, Ninth House is a fantasy, paranormal, dark academia novel that is the first book in the Alex Stern series, and the date of publication and also the cover of the second book was revealed not a long time ago, I think, or at least I only knew about it like last week or 2 weeks ago or something like that. And that cover is so creepy, but like in such a stunning way that is like definitely my aesthetic. I love it so much. Not that I don't love this one, I love this one as well, but the cover for the second book is so creepy and I love it. I was like, I need that book. And yeah, I have been wanting to read this book for a while, and I actually have bought this book a while ago, but I just never got to it, but I finally did. So yeah, I just want to also say that there are definitely spoilers for what happens in this book, and having said that, let's go.
So this week I actually attended a workshop about comics, and we had like 3 works that we had to do, and this was one of them, like what I'm painting here right now. And it was like the one that was hardest, I would say, because we had to improvise. Basically, we had to get a piece of paper and just draw the first thing that came to mind, and then we had to draw 2 to 4 more pieces of paper. So yes, there was that, and also we had to just draw with like pens or just colored pencils or something that couldn't be erased. So that was also tough because I tend to erase things like 1,000 times, and I couldn't. So it didn't come out looking great, but I guess that wasn't the purpose. Like, the purpose was to be creative and see what we could come up with on the spot. So yeah, that's what it ended up looking like.
Okay, so I am on page 146 of Ninth House. And in this book, we follow Alex, and she has been tasked to monitor the activities of Yale's secret societies. And that is actually because she can see ghosts. And so in the present time chapters, we follow Alex like in her POV and what is happening, but we also get some chapters that are in the past. And in those chapters, we follow another character, and that is Darlington, or Daniel Arlington, but everybody calls him Darlington. And in those chapters, Darlington is basically guiding Alex in Yale and teaching her about the societies and what they do and just explaining everything to her. And also, Darlington is only in those chapters from the past, so we learn that he's missing or dead, or I don't know, I just know that he's not there. So the book actually starts with Alex watching a ritual being performed, and it was all very confusing and complicated, and I was just like, what the hell is happening? And we also learned that there are ghosts around them as the rituals are being performed, and basically that's kind of what Alex has to do, is just to keep the ghosts away from the rituals because they can interfere. And the ghosts are sort of attracted by those rituals. So yeah, she's literally there to make sure nothing goes wrong. But after that ritual, whatever, is done, she gets a call saying that somebody was found dead. And that somebody was a girl called Tara. And she was not, seemingly, she was not associated with Yale or any of their societies. But still, Alex wants to investigate what happened to her. And so she goes to the coroner's office and she uses some sort of coin that can allow her to compel people to do what she wants. So she manages to get down to see Tara's body. And she performs some sort of ritual, and she can see what happened to Tara. And so as she's seeing what happened to Tara, she sees Tara's boyfriend as being the one who attacked her, which is basically like what the police thinks happened as well, or what they're saying happened as well. And so she's watching that, but when she's actually like struck, Alex doesn't feel anything, and there should obviously be pain, but she doesn't feel it, so she assumes that Tara was drugged. And actually, Tara and her boyfriend were dealing drugs, and she finds out that she had a contact in one of Yale's societies, and that guy is called Trip. So she decides that she's going to talk to him. And I am finding everything about this book so intriguing, and like I want to know everything about the societies and the rituals and the dead girl and what the hell happened to Darlington and also Alex, because she is so interesting, and she like the fact that she can see ghosts, because like Darlington can see ghosts if he takes some kind of elixir, potion, whatever, but she can naturally see ghosts and she can interact with them, which according to Darlington should not happen. She can physically interact with them. So that's really cool, but also really scary to her. And I have seen some reviews saying that this book is a little slow, and I mean, it is a little slow, but I actually enjoy that, shockingly, because I really like the atmosphere of this book, so I don't mind just being in this world and just experiencing whatever these societies are doing and just learning along with Alex. Because like in the present chapters we get what is happening, like the mystery of the dead body and Alex's investigation, but in the past we just get basically Darlington taking Alex to the various societies and just learning what they do and how they do it and what their purposes are and like how they were created, all of that, just like the history of the place. And I actually really enjoy getting to know that, even if it's a little slow. And like I said, I really like Alex as well, and I really like her interactions with Darlington, so I'm fine to just watch them interact and just follow them around, and I am actually really enjoying it. And I will update once I read another around 150 pages. Okay, so I'm on page 298, and while Alex was on her investigations about what happened to Tara, she was attacked by a ghost, and it was a weird looking ghost. She said that it didn't look like the other ghosts, and so she was being attacked by it. And then she saw another ghost, and that was a familiar ghost because it was one that usually hangs around the college area. And it was like a famous ghost because he was a murderer, because he had killed his fiancée and then himself. So he was just a famous ghost there. And he actually attacked the other ghost that was attacking Alex. And so he saved Alex, and Alex just ran. And so she goes to a sort of friend's house, and that friend is called Dawes. And Dawes tells Alex that first ghost that attacked her was a gluma. And I wrote down what a gluma is because the book always explains things better than I would. And so a gluma is a spirit raised from the recently dead to pass through the world, who could travel across the veil. And they were messengers for Blood and Snake. And Blood and Snake is one of the societies. And so basically Alex figures out that she was onto something about Tara's murder, and someone is trying to silence her. Also, we learn that Darlington is gone because he went through some kind of portal, and that is the only information we get for a while. We do see more with the information we did get afterwards. I am still like confused, so I'm just gonna go with he went through a portal and is missing, because honestly, that's all I gathered anyway. So afterwards, Alex makes a deal with that ghost that's helped her before, and he's called something North. So we're gonna go with North, which is also what Alex called him. So she makes a deal with North, and he is going to help her figure out what happened to Tara and who actually hurt her and why. And Alex is going to help North by finding who killed his fiancée, because according to him, actually it wasn't him who did it, and there was someone else who killed his fiancée and also caused his death, but he doesn't know who it was. So he wants Alex to find that out and to just basically prove that he wasn't the one who did it. So Alex accepts that. And she actually finds out about more people who Tara was in contact with, like from the secret Yale societies. And one of those societies are, like, they do glamours. So she assumes that that is why when she went to do that ritual on Tara's body, she saw her boyfriend attacking her. That was just a glamour to conceal who actually did it. And so then she goes to Tara's house because North wants something that belongs to Tara, and she goes there to the house to give it to North. But then someone appears and starts attacking Alex. And this time it wasn't a ghost, it was just a living person. And so she was just there being attacked, and North, the ghost, was also there. And basically we learned that there was a way for North to help her, because actually she can be possessed by ghosts. She can not only see them or interact with them, she can be possessed by them. And then we get some past chapters, like flashbacks, whatever, and we see that before Darlington disappeared, and this was where we got like more information of what happened to him, but I was even more confused than before. And he discovered that Alex could be possessed and basically figured out what happened to her in the past, because we knew that she had been the sole survivor of like a brutal attack, but we didn't know like what happened. And Darlington figures, like, he just figures it out, and then he disappears through that portal thing, whatever that was. And then we get like a previous flashback from the attack, and we learned that Alex was actually the one who attacked the others, because and like she was possessed by the spirit of the girl that the others had killed. So Alex let the spirits into her so she could basically get revenge, because the other girl was her friend, and she killed the others, and that was what happened. And that was also the last thing I read. And I am still really, really enjoying this book, and I feel like a lot of things came together in these 150 pages, although there is still so much to learn, because like I said, I am very confused. I mean, I am confused with like what happened to Tara and the murder situation, but I'm even more confused and maybe more interested and invested in what happened to Darlington, because what the hell? And speaking of what the hell, I really like the supernatural worlds in this book. It's really interesting, and the fact that Alex can be possessed, like, wow. And I am actually still really enjoying this slower pace and just learning things, like with Alex in the past, and just watching in the present the pieces just slowly coming together. And yeah, I am really enjoying it, and like before, I still really love Alex, and I'm also really starting to like Dawes, like her friend, and yeah, just really having fun with this book. And I will update again once I finish. Okay, so I have finished the book. And after North saved Alex from that guy that was attacking her, he basically showed her the moment when his fiancée, Daisy, was murdered. And like it was him, but Alex could feel like there was someone inside of him. There was someone possessing him. So it was in fact not North who killed his fiancée. Also, the guy who attacked Alex at Tara's house was Tara's boyfriend, who was also the prime suspect in her murder, and who was also supposed to be in police custody, which means that he has learned how to do portal magic. And portals are one of the types of magic used by Scroll and Key, which is one of the societies. Also, Alex discovered that Tara was actually associated with 4 different societies, which was obviously Scroll and Key, also Skull and Bones, Manuscript, and also Book and Snake. Also, there was some talk about the magic of Scroll and Key to be failing, and clearly it wasn't failing anymore. They were actually, like, they had taught Lance how to do portal magic, so it wasn't failing anymore. And they found something that used to belong to Tara that indicated that she was somehow helping them get their magic back. And telling outsiders about the secrets of these societies is forbidden, which means that they should have to silence Tara, and that could definitely be motive to kill her. Once it was the new moon, because they needed the new moon to perform that ritual, they performed a ritual to try to find Darlington, who was missing. Well, they thought he was missing because, according to the ritual, he was actually devoured by a hell beast. So the thing he walked into was not a portal, it was a mouth of a hell beast. And when you're devoured by a hell beast, you don't just die, your soul is also devoured. So, according to that ritual, Darlington was fully gone. And after that ritual was performed, Alex found some of Darlington's notebooks, and he was actually looking into North's case and trying to prove what actually happened to his fiancée. And she found a list of murdered women, starting with Daisy, and they kind of coincided with the years where some of these societies were founded. And for the societies to be founded, they need a nexus. They need like a focal point of magic. And those murders of those women could have been what created that nexus. And also, none of those women or girls were anywhere to be found on the other side of the veil, which means that their souls were not there, and neither was Tara. So Alex started to think that maybe Tara's death was used to create another nexus. And then she found out that the college dean had actually been the one who wanted to create the nexus for one of these societies called Saint Elmo, I think. Let me just check that, because that one is not as mentioned as the other. Yeah, Saint Elmo's, because they had lost their nexus. So in exchange for a lot of money, he promised to create a nexus for them so they could like rebuild their society or something like that. And so he was the one who prepared the ritual to kill Tara, but it actually did not work. And he was also the one who sent the Hellbeast for Darlington and also Alex, but Alex somehow survived. And he was also the one who sent the Gluma after Alex. And while Alex is confronting the dean, another professor appears. And that professor is actually Daisy, like Daisy's soul or whatever is inside that professor. And it turns out that before her death, a spirit had consumed her, and she got like kind of scared, and she pushed the spirit onto North. And that's when North killed her, or like the spirit that was possessing North killed her. But she was not ready to die, so she started possessing other bodies. And those bodies were those women that had been murdered and created the Nexus. The various nexus, whatever. And I guess that's why Tara's murder didn't work, because it wasn't the same way as the others, because the others were Daisy's work. And now she wants Alex. She wants Alex because of her abilities, because she would keep Daisy stronger for a longer amount of time. But Alex actually manages to somehow get the spirit of the other girls that Daisy killed, and they all destroy Daisy. But not before Daisy kills the dean. And the last thing is that Alex actually basically figured out that Darlington is not dead because he turned into a demon, and demons can survive hell beasts. And she now realized that some things that she had been hearing that she couldn't understand were actually Darlington trying to communicate with her. So Alex and Dawes and another girl are actually going to hell. And yeah, that was the end of the book. And I loved this so much. I was freaking out the whole time I was reading this last third. And I'm just like, I want the next book whenever it comes out. Like, I need it. And yeah, let's just go into my final thoughts. Okay, so like I just said in my third and last update, I absolutely loved this book. And before I read it, I was kind of like scared to read it because I had seen very mixed reviews. Some people loved it, some people didn't really like it that much, but I had an amazing time reading it. Well, starting with the characters, I really, really liked Alex. Both her personality, which was very sassy and funny, but also like scared and vulnerable and just overall very human. And also her abilities, which were very interesting to learn about and also very fun. Even though like they were fun to read, but I don't think they were fun for Alex. But for me, as a reader, was definitely very, very fun to follow. And yeah, I love her. And I also really liked Darlington from like what we got. In those flashbacks, like what we did get of him, I really did like him. And I hope they find him because I want more of him.
Also, I didn't mention this because it's really not relevant at all, but Darlington knew how to speak Portuguese, so that's just extra points.
I also really like the cute and adorable interactions between Alex and Dawes. And I definitely also really liked Alex's sort of funny interactions, kind of friendship with the detective Turner. They were very like funny to witness. In terms of the pacing, which I feel like is what most people have complaints about because it was slow, and I mean, it was slow, especially the first 300 pages were slow. And I mean, I was not expecting to like it because usually I will prefer faster paced books, but it did really work for me. And I do understand why some people like complain about that and how it could not work for them because like I said, I also tend to prefer faster paced books. But yeah, it definitely did work for me because I really liked the atmosphere of the book, so I was just happy to be, reading about just what was happening and following Alex and Darlington Alex discovering and Darlington teaching what happened in the societies and just watching the rituals. I just thought it was very entertaining, just that slower pace actually. And yeah, surprisingly, it did really work for me. Also, in terms of the plot, I definitely loved the plot, or I guess both plots, or maybe even 3 plots, because there was like Tara's murder and the mystery around that. There was also like the mystery of what had happened to Darlington, and also Alex and her abilities and her past. And I loved all those things. And I really liked the way that the pieces of the mystery came together, and also they had different theories throughout the book, and I liked that they all made sense. Whenever I was reading like a new theory, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then I read another and I was like, wait, that also makes sense. And when we got a new piece, it added something, and like the new theory made more sense now. And I really liked how that came together, and it just kept me wanting to read. And also, speaking of which, most of the chapters, like the way they ended was so good. Like a lot of them were cliffhangers, but even the ones that weren't cliffhangers, they were just like so beautifully ended that it also just made me want to keep reading. And I literally have no complaints about this book, like at all whatsoever. I just loved it so much. It was just perfect for me, and so I gave it 5 stars. And like I said before, I cannot wait for the next book in the series to come out. And having said that, I had a great time reading this book. This was the first book I read in this month of April. So it was a great way to start the month. And yeah, this is everything for this week's video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!